Hello, everyone. It's Blaze, and welcome back to more Film Theory. This time, The Book of Bill Part 2. Now, we reacted to the first part about 2-ish months ago, and I did enjoy it. It was a really great theory, and I can't wait to see what they have next. But by the looks of it, it seems like Bill is actually trying to enter our world again? I don't know, but I'm excited for this, and without delay, let's just start this thing.
The Book of Bill holds one more puzzle within it that no one has solved. The
Ooh.
secret to the future of the Gravity Falls franchise might be right in front of us, and today, loyal theorists, I need your help to solve the hardest puzzle in the Book of Bill.
Ooh, what is that puzzle?
Hello, internets. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's trapped in the Theraprism. Please send help. By this point, I think Gravity Falls and the Book of Bill need no introduction. This Disney franchise is a certified theorist favorite, and the incredible ARG that's popped up around the Book of Bill has absolutely reinvigorated this franchise unlike anything I've ever seen.
It really has.
Before.
I can't wait for it.
It's easy to see
more.
why. The amount of love, thought, and dedication that series creator Alex Hirsch has put into the Book of Bill and
Okay, I just wanted to give a round of applause to Alex Hirsch, because, oh my gosh, you have made a masterpiece of stuff. Like, Scott Cawthon wishes he was this good at telling stories that actually make sense. No one knocked to Scott Cawthon, but yeah, some of your puzzles are questionable at times, but still. Alex Hirsch, hands off to you, and straight off, hats off to you as well. I don't have a hat on me, but still, just take Bill's hat or something, I don't know.
And This Is Not a Website.com is second to none. And so many awesome theorists in the Gravity Falls subreddit and Discord have absolutely devoured these puzzles. Please go join in those communities if you want in on that fun. Because believe me, the passion has been enough that I firmly believe that Disney has taken notice and we will be getting more of this series down the road. But with all of that being said, despite all of the collective work put into ripping these mysteries apart, we as a community haven't found everything in the book. See, at a recent panel that Alex Hirsch attended at Emotion London 2024, he took to the stage to let us know that we haven't found everything yet.
Now, I'll say most of the secrets of the book, since it's come out thanks to Reddit, have been discovered. Most of them. I'm not going to tell you where the undiscovered secret is.
Oh, is that a challenge?
Yes,
you know we have to rise to this occasion and take our crack at it. And while no one has found that secret yet, I think I have a hunch about what this puzzle is, and what exactly it means for the future of this series. And if I'm right, this puzzle's going to show us a dimension where Bill Cipher has no power, which might be the key to defeating him once and for all. But by the end of this theory today, I'm not afraid to admit that I might need your help to solve this completely. This is the hardest puzzle in the Book of Bill after all. So please, grab your code breakers and journals, loyal theorists. We have to take a crack at solving.
I'm surprised they never made Journal 1 and 2, because they have made Journal 3, which I do own. But still, if they made Journals 1 and 2, that would have flown off the shelves so quickly, because the amount of theories in there. I really wish the blacklight versions were in every version, because I'm not sure if I have the blacklight version. I don't think I do. I still don't need to grab a blacklight, but still. They should have made a blacklight version, all of it, because that would have been interesting, but still. Anyway, back to this.
Solving this final puzzle. So, okay, where do we even start with this? There's so much packed into the Book of Bill, and This Is Not a Website.com, that it seems daunting. But thankfully, I do believe we have a lead. See, at this same panel where he said the puzzle hasn't been found, Alex jokingly scrolled through the Book of Bill while searching for a hint, and he landed on a random page. The start of the missing pages of Journal 3 revealed in the Book of Bill. So, I don't know if I need to tell you this, but nothing is random, loyal theorists.
Nope.
This has to be a hint, and I think I know exactly where this thread leads. See,
where?
in the corner of this page, you'll notice some art of an axolotl that doesn't actually appear in the Book of Bill, but you can still find this page on the website. Yeah, in the Journal 3 section of the Book of Bill, you'll find a page with a snake on it, and hidden on the snake is one of Bill's ciphers. Translated, it reads Ouroboros. An Ouroboros is a symbol of a snake eating its own tail, symbolizing an unending cycle. It was common in Egyptian, Greek, and Norse myth, and has been used symbolically in everything from the X-Files to Full Metal Alchemist to Ninjago. Regardless, if you enter this code into MacGuffin's
forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
these missing pages with the axolotl art.
It's also in Beyblades, because for some reason, coming to mind, the Beyblade Ouroboros and the Bay Wheel or something. I don't know. There was a bunch of Ouroboroses. I don't know, those just come to mind. Just saying as well.
Man, this is such a cool puzzle and even fits with the hint hidden here, right? Like an Ouroboros represents an unending cycle, and to get this clue, you need to go back and forth between the website and the book in an infinite cycle. It just makes sense.
That's cool.
Regardless, this page tells us about a gift that McGucket once got Ford, a pet axolotl, which he got for Ford because he thought the frills reminded him of Ford's sideburns. Ford even names him Frillium because that's the cutest thing ever, and I think I'm gonna die. Ford was initially delighted by the pet, but at the time he was also working with Bill, and Bill did not like the little creature. In fact, he seemed entirely revulsed by it, and told Ford that he shouldn't have any distractions while they worked on their portal together. And so, Ford released the axolotl into a creek behind his lab, and though it looked back at him with a bittersweet sympathy, it left. Of course, if you know anything about Gravity Falls lore, all of this will make sense to you. A strange quirk of axolotl biology means that they can regrow their limbs if they're ever lost, something that Ford finds appealing. As he says, to be wounded but leave no scars. Because of this ability, and along with being entirely adorable and lovable little creatures,
yes, they are.
axolotls represented rebirth in Aztec mythology. But within the series,
cool.
the axolotl represents far more than just rebirth. The highest deity within the Gravity Falls universe also takes the form of an axolotl and acts as a direct
I forgot about
rival
that.
for Bill Cipher. If Bill is a being all about destruction and chaos in a quest for immortality, the great axolotl is the opposite of that. It's
so
a being
cute.
of healing and rebirth. Now, all of this is a beautiful little story and a good representation of these two cosmic forces sort of pulling on Ford and the rest of the Pines family in a galactic game of tug of war. But there's something else here on these pages, and this is why I think this was the hint from Alex. See, on the second page of this journal entry, there's a little doodle of a, quote, new star system down at the very bottom of the page. Now, this stuck out to me a lot because the study of stars and other star systems just fascinates me, and at first I wondered if this was something very familiar. See, while it's not perfect, it reminded me of the Alpha Centauri star system, which is actually the closest star system to our solar system.
Oh, that's cool.
But it doesn't really line up super well when you actually examine it under a microscope. Plus, it says new star system, and we've known about Alpha Centauri for centuries. But despite that, I do wonder if there's some information we
How do
can
they figure
sort of
that
glean out of this. See, in physics and astronomy, there's a principle known as the three-body problem. Yeah, that isn't just a solid book series and Netflix show. It's an actual real scientific concept. So, what is it then? Well, when you have two bodies floating out in space affecting one another, like two big stars or planets, it's very easy to use math and science to predict the speeds and locations of those objects far into the future. However, if you add a third body in there, like a third big star or planet, all of a sudden it becomes very hard to make any of the same predictions, to the point where this three-body problem becomes more or less unsolvable. I'm hoping that that isn't a sign of things to come here for this puzzle, and that it is indeed solvable for us, but
Please
that
be solvable.
doesn't bode very well. But hey, here's the thing. This little doodle was done in blue ink, which is the pen color that's been associated with McGucket throughout all of the This Is Not a Website entries.
Really?
Plus, on top of that, this isn't the only time we've seen a little solar system doodle like this. Yeah, there's another one in one of the best hidden codes that the Book of Bill has to offer. A little while back, Reddit user Kirkathy was one of the first to notice this little teeny tiny code deep within the fold of 2 pages of the book. You basically have to like crack your book in half to even see it.
Oh my gosh, how
when
can you
translate it, it reads, "Destruction is a form of creation." That seems very much like something Bill would believe, wouldn't it? Well, typing this into the website gives us another clue, and I believe this is the end game for this whole mystery. Yeah, as you can see, this thing is wild. It's a note page from McGucket's personal notebook that is just scribbled from left to right, top to bottom, with text and equations and doodles and codes. And if you look down at the sticky note at the bottom of the page, you'll notice a similar looking solar system drawn in the same color. Yeah, it's not quite the same,
Not
but
even
enough
close.
that I feel like these have to be connected.
They're not even
and
close.
Before you suggest that this is an atom, there's actually an atomic drawing elsewhere on the page that is a different style. So this leans much more in the design of a solar system than an atom.
That does not look like a
because of
solar
that
system
connection,
whatsoever.
Is there something else on this page that could lead us to some answers? Well, the most obvious thing here is this giant drawing cutting through the middle of the page, which has McGucket concluding that there is a giant hole in space-time, and this might be the key to stopping Bill. But here's where the difficulty of the puzzle comes into play. No one, us at Theorist HQ included, have have been able to quite figure out what this page is pointing to yet, and believe me, that is not for a lack of trying. For example, a few of the talented theorists over at the Gravity Falls Reddit and Discord have taken to overlaying parts of the Book of Bill or those unlockable wallpapers we discussed in our last theory onto this note page. And honestly, while that sounds absolutely
Wait,
bonkers,
was there a
on
theory I
paper,
missed?
But
Was there a theory I missed, or did they change the thumbnail? I have to go back and check, because I don't remember it.
Tish, certain things do line up super well. Maybe well enough to not be a coincidence. Like, one of the wallpapers is a Bill Cipher themed Ouija board, and if you line up the yes and no on the board with the yes and no in the infinity symbol on this note page, well, one guess of what lines up with the big hole in space if you do this. That's the symbol
cool.
of Bill on the Ouija board. That's really compelling, and only one of the things they found that lined up really well. Maybe there is something more going on to this here. But while that is super fascinating and might lead somewhere, that's not what I want to talk about with this page. No,
why
instead,
not?
what I want to focus on is something a bit more surface level here. See, one of the big pieces of text on this page reads, "I cannot see him, he is blind." At first, that might seem like a little bit of a confusing phrase, but in the Book of Bill, we learn that Bill once possessed McGucket's brain and left because it was just too much for him. I believe that this left McGucket forever scarred, and also led him to find a way to completely shield himself from Bill. A way to never be seen by him in his all-seeing eye ever again. So, you cannot see him, he is blind. And, well,
The blind
I
eyes.
believe that McGucket found one. If you notice on the sides of the grid, there are two numbers that are circled, column 12 and row 20. If you cross-reference these on the actual sheet, you'll notice that they line up with the number 35. And there's a space right before 35 that itself is circled and labeled weak point. And if this weak point is right before 35, I would presume that this has to be 34. Now, that could just be a coincidence.
34.
This isn't the only time we've seen 34 in this ARG, nor is it
Wait,
the
really?
only time that it's said to be a blind
remember
spot
that.
for Bill. If you type 7 eyes into the website, it brings up a Polaroid portrait of a shadowy figure.
The blind
And
eyes.
If you squint, you can make out that this is Jesselbrom the Unswerving. This
Oh.
is the Oracle from Journal 3, and if our previous Book of Bill theory is correct, she is also Bill's ex-lover and former henchmaniac that betrayed him. Now, that in and of itself is fascinating, that she'd be referenced again here in this ARG, but if you flip the Polaroid over, it reveals the message, "Leave him. Escape to Dimension Blank. It's against the rules, but it's the one reality where you may be safe from him." Clearly, she's talking about Bill here, and the desire to find a reality that's shielded from him. Perhaps some sort of weak point, just like what's labeled on McGucket's page. If that's too much of a stretch for you, like, hey, that's fair, but it's not all. See, at the bottom of this flipped Polaroid, barely visible in the dark ink, you'll find another code. When you translate it, it reads,
what is that
"Set
code?
chords for dimension reality." That's reality spelled with the number 34.
Oh, that's where 34
like
is.
speak. Also, it is not beyond me that Alex absolutely slipped a subtle R34 joke into a Disney project. Absolute king. Regardless, there's that connection again.
That's cool.
34. Reality. A weak spot where Bill can't see, and the one reality where you may be safe from him.
Axolotl?
All of it lines up. Clearly, Dimension 34, this reality, is a blind spot for Bill. Or maybe it's even more dangerous than that. Maybe it could be the end of the entire multiverse. See, if you type reality with the 34 into thisisnotawebsite.com, you're given a bunch of photographs of Bill's friends, the henchmaniacs, explaining that they found a new home. We know from Gravity Falls Lost Legends, the first Gravity Falls comic, that the henchmaniacs survived Weirdmageddon, and this tells us that they've somehow escaped the Nightmare Realm and now they're living in Dimension 34. Bad news, right? Well, it could get even
Possibly.
worse. Another interpretation of McGucket's note is that reality is not a weak point for Bill, but one for the entire fabric of space-time. This could explain why Jesse's message on the Polaroid says that going there is against the rules. If it's a weak point for the entire multiverse, one wrong move could unravel everything. With that in mind, it's not a
makes
far
sense.
leap to assume that maybe this reality is comprised of some sort of antimatter. If you don't know, antimatter is a real scientific concept. It's basically like negative matter.
If I remember correctly, they for some reason used it in one of the FNAF theories. Oh, those were some interesting theories. I don't remember which one. If you want to tell me in the comments, please let me know. But I could have sworn they used antimatter in the FNAF series once. I don't remember where, but I want to say it happened.
For every atom of real material, there's an equal and opposite particle of antimatter, and should matter and antimatter ever come into contact, well, the results could be explosive. So, going to a dimension of antimatter, one that's a weak spot potentially for the whole multiverse, could be bad news. Plus, in our last theory, we speculated that a series called Anti-Gravity Falls might be one of the ways the franchise moves forward, either as a prequel or a sequel. Perhaps some sort of Anti-Gravity Falls, as in the town lies inside of this Dimension 34, and Dipper and Mabel and everyone else is gonna have to go there to defeat Bill. So yeah, I feel pretty confident that these things are related to the unsolved puzzle that Alex pointed out that started us down this rabbit hole. But to be honest, loyal theorists, it's not as clean as I would like it to be.
Nope.
It's not the slam dunk, open and shut case that makes me confidently say, we solved this. Which is why, friends, I need your help. I feel like the solution to this mystery is right at the tip of our fingers, but we need more collective brain power to get us there. So again, please, I want to encourage you to go to the Gravity Falls subreddit and Discord to join in on this mystery hunt. A ton of talented theorists have already been working around the clock over there to solve the Book of Bill and thisisnotawebsite.com inside and out. And I want our community here to go and join in on that effort. Between all of us, I know we're going to be able to solve the connection between this page that Alex pointed out, and the wallpapers from the website, and McGucket's random note page, and this Polaroid with Jess O'Brom, and everything else in this book. And you best believe that I'll be keeping my eye out for any of the solutions that pop up. We will definitely be doing a follow-up video if and when we find a solution to it.
Oh my gosh. Did I seriously miss a video? I don't remember them posting that crap!
So you better subscribe so you know when that comes out. Until then, I'll just be banging my head here against the keyboard trying to figure it out and get Bill out of my head. I think I accidentally made a deal with him. Regardless, remember that it's all just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Up next on...
So yeah, I'm just going to double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. So yeah, I found the video and we're going to react to that as well. So I didn't even realize that they made this video. Whoopsie!
The Book of Bill and its website ARG have told us exactly where the story of Gravity Falls is headed, and believe me, we are definitely getting more of this series. Gravity Falls will return, and today I'll tell you exactly how that's gonna happen and why it hasn't been announced yet. It's just a matter of time, friends.
Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember them hosting this one.
Welcome to Film
I have their
Theory, the
notifications
show where
on.
the secret code is subscribe. Friends, it's been a great year for theorists like us, in no small part thanks to the return of one of the classic OG theorist favorites, the Disney animated series Gravity Falls. In case you don't know, Gravity Falls was all about the twins Dipper and Mabel Pines as they visit their grunkle Stan in the mysterious town of Gravity Falls, Oregon, full of cryptids, monsters, and mysteries. It's a great show, ended far too soon, but now, Disney and series creator Alex Hirsch have
It both ended too soon, but also at the perfect time, because with how the story was going, it feels like that where the show should have ended, but yet I also wanted more, but by the sound of it, they're making more.
Have teamed up to release the Book of Bill, a best-selling book that acts as a memoir/soul-stealing contract for the show's main villain, Bill Cipher. In our last theory, we covered most of the Book of Bill's biggest secrets, the puzzles and ciphers and juicy lore, revealing that Bill has spent most of the last few years in an interdimensional therapy prison. But now, he's potentially flown the coop, and that's only the beginning. Hidden within the book was a link to a website called thisisnotawebsite.com, a hub for a massive
how they found
that's still ongoing. Yeah, it's still in the process of being solved, and I want to give a massive shout out to the theorists over at the Gravity Falls subreddit and Discord server who put a bunch of their blood, sweat, time, and tears into breaking all of this down. That community has done incredible work, and the master doc they put together compiling all of the puzzle solutions that they found has been invaluable for every theorist working on figuring this ARG out, myself included. So again, big props to them, and go join that community if you want to hop in yourself and be one of the first people to know when a new puzzle gets solved.
That is actually pretty cool that they made the doc.
I wanted to take our own crack at breaking down this website, creating a digestible way to get everyone on the same page about what's going on. And I think doing so will show us that Disney has big plans for the Gravity Falls franchise. The Book of Bill and this ARG were an experiment, and it's been an unmitigated success. And by the end of this theory, I think I'm going to convince you that there's a whole lot more in store for Bill Cipher and the Pines family. Get out your code breakers, theorists. We're going deep on this one. Okay,
Woo!
so what exactly is thisisnotawebsite.com.com? Well, we talked about it very briefly in our previous theory, but hidden within the Book of Bill was this URL that was locked and prompted users to put in a password to enter. The solution for that password was in another puzzle in the Book of Bill, a magic eye puzzle that when looked at a very sheer angle read, need a password? Fine, I'll talk. It's the name of the eyeball doc. Elsewhere in the Book of
That's
Bill,
actually
there were
cool.
random pages from a novel called The Great Gatsby, which talked about an eyeball doctor named T.J. Eckelberg. So, put that name into the website and bam, the website unlocked and a whole new part of the Book of Bill ARG began. Gotta love the creative use of content that's recently fallen into the public domain. Bill's a thrifty one. When the website was first
That's cool.
discovered and
That's
this
cool.
password entered, there was just a countdown clock, and when that hit 0, nothing happened. We were just hit with a series of technical difficulty pages involving Seuss trying to get things working.
Damn it, Seuss.
If you
What'd you
clicked
do
on
this time?
Seuss, he'd even change up what he was saying, offering links to a full copy of The Great Gatsby and some Gravity Falls themed lo-fi. A lot of people thought that this was part of the ARG, and it might have been. However, Alex Hirsch quickly took to Twitter explaining that sometimes technical difficulties are just technical difficulties. If I were to guess, I don't think Alex, Disney, or anyone else expected the sheer amount of interest in this ARG, and things just weren't ready, or the website went down from the sheer amount of traffic that they were seeing. But
Makes
eventually,
sense.
those technical difficulties were ironed out, and the website
Sweet.
relaunched, this time featuring a desk within the Mystery Shack complete with haunting music, ambient rain, and a glitchy computer just begging to be toyed with. A ton of the things on this desk are actually interactable. For example, if you click on the Book of Bill here with the dagger in it, it'll open up the book and give us a note for Dipper written by Uncle Ford, telling us that he was mining the book for secrets before chucking it into a bottomless pit. That
But it
must
came
have been the
back.
portal that let it end up in our reality, where Alex Hirsch got his hands on it and put Bill on the path to the bestsellers list. I guess that this also means that since the book is here in this website in the Mystery Shack, I suppose that this means that this canonically takes place before we get our copies of the book? Hopefully Time Baby isn't going to hunt us down for breaking the timeline. Before we move on, there are a few other treats hidden in this scene too. Like for instance, if you click on the skull's golden tooth, you're given one Get Out of Death Free coupon only for use in participating realities. And clicking on the bottle with the eyeball in it will give you a snapshot of the Finterdimensional Portal. Dang, Bill was right. That was very difficult to say out loud.
really was.
Regardless, this was another
really wanna
portal
attempt it.
constructed by dolphins, but unfortunately for Bill, it didn't work out. Porpoises don't got no opposable thumbs. And finally,
Damn you,
clicking the
porpoises.
McGucket logo on the computer gives us a note left behind by Old Man McGucket. In case you need a refresher, this guy was a surprisingly big player in Gravity Falls. He was a hillbilly who was once a genius, but he voluntarily scrambled his brain after witnessing Bill's antics in the Nightmare Realm firsthand. And now, it looks like his old computer is the key to solving
still
this
can't
ARG.
believe that's what happened.
See, you can
I never
actually
expected
type words into this
I straight up never expected McGucket to actually be an important character. Like, that is crazy good. I like that so much.
computer, and if it matches something in the
Where now?
computer's database, you're given a clue or an Easter egg.
How did I get inside this computer? How do I get out of here? Bill!
Now, there's a lot of stuff you can type in here, but we're not
Oh,
going to
now.
be doing a comprehensive breakdown. If you're looking for that, there are tons of great videos here on YouTube from creators like Hannah Hyperfixates that do a great job of breaking it all down. So, for us here today, we're just going to be focusing on a few key codes, and some that I just kind of thought were funny. Like, I'm not above entering Mabel a 11 million times and Mabelizing the whole lab. Just makes it feel more
Damn
like
it,
home,
Mabel.
you know? Plus, this is where you get Matt's cameo on the website, therefore making all of us theorists here canon in Gravity Falls.
Hello, Internet! This time, you're on your own.
Damn you, Matt.
Just still
Why
blows
couldn't you
my
help
mind.
us?
So where do we even start here? Well, using McGucket's note as a jumping off point, there are a couple of passcodes we can try that are hidden in here. The one of most consequence is Goodnight Sally, and it starts us down a ridiculous rabbit hole. This code pulls up an image of a yellow graphic tee with Bill dancing while the church burns down in the background.
Oh,
Fun,
Bill.
but there's more hidden in this image than first meets the eye. If you zoom in on Bill's left shoe, the one that's outstretched, you may notice a series of small dots and dashes running along the edge of the shoe sole. This is, of course, Morse code, and it spells out Diona Rap. That's paranoid backwards. Then, if you
paranoid.
type in Diona Rap to the computer, we get a conspiracy board that would make even Pepe Sylvia proud. There's a lot to take in here. Hints that Bill was involved with the Kennedy assassination, had links to inventor Nikola Tesla, and Russian mystic Rasputin, was literally the iceberg that sank the Titanic, and is the reason that the Bermuda Triangle is so funky. Also, you just gotta love Bill's apparent belief that Doritos are a, quote, crude attempt at mockery. That one earned a legitimate legit guffaw from me. I love this page, but the reason we're talking
so
about it
fun.
today is
I
that
love
there's
it.
actually a clever puzzle hidden here. All throughout the conspiracy board, you'll notice some strange groupings of letters. An OC here and EHT there. Well, if you find them all and put them all together, it makes the phrase Stad et Tinnak. That's connect the dots backwards. Now, I'll admit I spent an embarrassingly long amount of time trying to connect the dots here on the page to actually make something work before I realized it's just another code. Type that backwards phrase into the website, and once again,
Idiot.
you're given a treasure trove of new information. Are you sensing a pattern here? This gives us a chapter of a fictional book called Lesser Known American Cults, and tells us about Cyphertologists, described as the first cult in history that was right. By possessing the body of snake oil salesman Silas Birchtree, Bill was able to build himself a following as he turned the city of Orchard Lake, Kansas into Billville. Here, his followers started to build him a portal
Damn you,
before
Bill.
the plan was foiled by a rebel named Emmeline Butternubbins. Yes, Butternubbins. I continue to be in awe of Hirsch's ability to name things. Regardless, this chapter ends with a message
Alex
hidden
Hirsch,
in
awesome.
Cypher's special alphabet. Translated, it reads, "You can't kill an idea," and typing that into the computer gives us a pamphlet for Cyphertologists. Now, this might just seem like the end of this particular rabbit hole, but just put a pin in that. We'll be back shortly. And hey, what's this? If we type in Got Legends, we
Skip.
get another rabbit hole we can dive down. Involves us just
I'm not
typing in the
sponsored, so
word riddle.
not
This brings up a
watching it.
screen that just asks us, would you like to play a game? Suddenly we are in Saw. Of course, you know us, we are absolutely up for this. If you type in
What
yes
kind of
to
game?
answer it, you're again asked a question. This time, what's McGucket's favorite soda? This answer is actually found back in the Book of Bill, on the page depicting the nightmare that is McGucket's mind. In this tornado of awfulness, we can see a can of soda labeled Mountain Don't. I personally prefer Voltage or Baja Blast myself,
Voltage
but,
is
you know,
good.
personal preference. Type in Mountain Don't, and we're once again given another riddle. Oh boy. Yeah, all in all, there are about another dozen of these riddles, but eventually we're asked the question, Bill Cipher's lawyer? That might seem nonsensical, but this is actually
He has
where
a
that
lawyer?
pamphlet comes in. If you scour that thing, you'll see that Bill is represented by the law firm Caesar, Atbash, and Visionaire. All of those happen to be the names of 3 very popular code ciphers, so that's a fun Easter egg. Type
cool.
those in, and you're asked who defeated Silas Birchtree. If you don't remember, that was the guy Bill took over to lead the Cyphertologists, and he was beaten by the hilariously named Emmeline Butternubbins. Type that last name in, and we're finally told we have earned a treat. Follow these instructions, and it'll actually download a zip file onto your computer
Wait,
called
seriously?
Bill's Files Do Not Open.
That's cool.
You have to know every cybersecurity alarm in my head is going off right now, but come on, we gotta open this. Don't screw us, Disney. Thankfully, it's just a bunch of wallpapers, a
no!
reward for figuring out this ridiculously complex puzzle. And nothing else, right? Well, at this point,
No.
we'll see. It feels like everything in this website is part of a greater puzzle, from fun wallpapers to fake law firms on pamphlets. Now, speaking of fake law firms, we can actually summon Bill's very own lawyer and sign away our soul to him, and this starts us down another rabbit hole. Signing over our soul here will turn the flame of this candle blue, signaling that we're now part of Bill. But that's not the only change
that's
it
cool.
makes. Now, we can interact with the knob on this computer, and doing so treats us to some unsettling audio coming out of the static. This is not our first rodeo, theorists. This is clearly some backwards audio, and it says... Someone is
That sounds like a
begging
good
for help.
jingle.
Someone that Bill killed. Now, right away, this is cool,
I will say the first part, the first 2 lines, it sounded like it was a little bit of a song that I was about to speak. That would have been interesting, not gonna lie.
because in the Book of Bill, Bill mentions that he can hear something going on in TV static. So now that we've signed our soul away to him, we can hear it too. We can also learn from another code here on the website that one of Bill's phobias is TV static, so he doesn't love how creepy this is. All in all, this is a neat touch and great character
Quick,
building for
get the
Bill,
TV
but
static!
it's also a huge deal for the story of Gravity Falls moving forward. See, in our last theory, we pointed out a section of the Book of Bill where clearly one of the souls that Bill had claimed was somehow using his power to influence the book, writing out pleas for help. Something similar is happening here, just on the website. Someone that Bill has killed is reaching out through this static after we've made our deal with Bill. But who? Well, we actually see them in multiple places throughout this book and this ARG. It's been one of the best secrets hidden in plain sight. See, again in that last theory,
who
we
is it?
pointed out that it was clear that not all of the writing in the book was done by Bill himself. Obviously, some of the other pages were done by other characters, like Ford, but even some of the secret codes were from other characters. And we figured that was the case because they were talking about Bill. We wondered if it was Jessie the Oracle, the character we identified as Bill's ex, and while that may partially be the case, she's clearly not the only one writing in this book. Like we said,
Who else?
obviously pages
Just
from
tell
Journal
us.
3 were written by Ford, and he also has some of his own codes hidden throughout the book. And a Viking named Olaf seems to be behind the writing in runes as well. But one of the strangest codes was the color block cipher, first deciphered by Reddit user JimBag777. Yeah, these things were a deep cut, but now we can figure
Interesting
out who
name.
wrote these. Huge shoutouts to friend of the channel, Rim Games, for being the first person I saw put this together in his series all about the Book of Bill. In his video solving much of thisisnotawebsite.com,
Let me know if you want me to react to that as well. I wouldn't mind it, but I want to see fan interest first before I do anything like that.
he was able to figure out that the color block codes were coming from very specific people. Bill's family and the rest of his race, the people of Euclidia. Yeah, the people
Seriously?
that Bill admitted to killing in the book. The color block code is just their language. But how do we know this? Well, this is because of a few
that's
things.
cool.
Firstly, one of the color code blocks refers to Bill as Little Billy and talks about his childhood. This was the same affectionate name that Bill's mom used for him, which we see in another color block code. Another color block code translates to some sort of eulogy for Euclidia, something that sounds like it would have been written by a Euclidean, while yet another points us to a Euclidean government agency. And just the cherry on top,
How can
when
you solve
lightning
this stuff?
flashes in the Mystery Shack, you can see the Latin phrase Vallis Cineris, or Valley of Ashes, written on the back wall. Typing that into the computer gives us a video of little baby Bill being held by his parents, who are obscured and consumed by TV static.
Aw,
And that voice we
poor
talked
Bill.
about earlier, it
You look
comes
so
back.
cute.
This confirms that the voice we heard in the static were from the Euclideans, maybe even Bill's parents, thus why Bill is so terrified of static. Again, huge props to Remy for putting all of that together. Now, you
Thank
might
you.
just think that this is some fun Easter egg, some backstory for Bill, but it's way more than that. This is the key to the future plot points of this series. The people Bill has killed are still in his head, and now with the knowledge that his parents and the other Euclideans are also passing messages along, that's huge. They're also still in his head, and they're the key to beating Bill. Yeah, you heard that right, and there's a ton of proof for this on the website. Like, if you type in Grunkle Stan into the computer multiple times,
That's a new
eventually it'll
layout.
lead to a pop-up where you can ask Bill how Stan beat him. Clicking through the prompt repeatedly will twist the knife into Bill's ego, and eventually he'll break, revealing a series of increasingly staticky messages. They read, "Sometimes when I close my eye, I can still see," and then 4 messages in the various ciphers from the book. When translated, they read, "Through the eyes of everyone I've ever. Sometimes when I close my eye, I can still see through the eyes of everyone I've ever killed." That's what I bet the message ends as. Then Bill screams. He can't turn it off. That is his weakness. Plus, I've seen a lot of great evidence pointed out by the community that the major human historical figures that Bill talks about in the Book of Bill are also stuck in his head, and they're using Bill's powers against him, trying to warn other characters about Bill's future plans. And with our belief that Bill has once again escaped through the bird that landed on this statue,
Damn you,
that is
bird!
a pretty massive dangling plot thread to leave hanging and have a solution for in the text if they're never going to address it, which is precisely why they are going to address it. See, I believe that they're going to bring back Gravity Falls in a big way, all thanks to this little ARG and your excitement for it, and there's a ton of
I really
evidence
can't wait to
prove
see if they
this.
actually make a
First
new
off,
Gravity
if you type
Falls.
season
I'm
3
gonna
into the
watch
computer,
it.
it spits back out season 2. Type that in and it gives you season 1. But if you type that in, well, then it gives you season -1, Anti-Gravity Falls. This is an absolute curveball, and it could mean a lot of things. Maybe this is a spin-off. Maybe it's some sort of new movie or video game or comic or something. But personally, I think it's pointing towards some sort of prequel series involving Stan or Ford. That's why it's season -1. Alex has gone on record saying that he'd love to do more stories with Stan and Ford, and if he does that story, it needs to be its own book or series.
If I ever wanted to do something with this show more in a animated context, I'm keeping certain material for that. If I'm going to do some adventures with Stan and Ford, either they need their own book or their own miniseries.
But that's just one
Oh, I can't wait for
possibility. It's one
if
I
they see
definitely
that.
think they're going to be exploring, but it's not the only one. They could also do some sort of sequel series or movie involving all the souls trapped in Bill's head, like we worked out here today.
I don't think
My
they're
friend
going to
Ryder
do
from
that,
Foot of
but
a
still.
Ferret actually pitched that out in one of his own recent videos, and it does sound great. And really, I think a continuation of the show just makes sense. This is the same company that made X-Men 97 after all, and with other massive fan favorites from the mid-2010s like Regular Show and Adventure Time getting a ton of continuations and spin-offs, it just fits perfectly. So why?
Yeah, let's remember that regular show's spin-off It literally was treated like crap since day one from companies. Oh, close enough. You deserve so much better. You are a good show and deserve so much more, but companies kept on shitting on you to the point that they literally canceled you for no reason. Oh, rest in peace.
Why haven't they just announced it yet? Why hasn't there been any
Alex
movement
Hirsch
on
needs
this
to
despite
prove it
the
first.
massive fan interest in this series and some sort of revival? It's simple, friends. Alex Hirsch legally can't work on it right now. See, back in 2018, Alex signed an agreement with Netflix to exclusively develop shows and movies for the streamer. And we know for a fact that he's still under this contract.
That's
in
stupid.
April of 2024, Alex did an interview on the channel Hannah Hyperfixates where he said,
I could probably talk Disney into a miniseries if I was out of my Netflix deal and I really wanted to.
if he could get out of his deal. He's still under contract to produce.
Okay, that is 100% scummy. Like, 100% to me, that seems straight up illegal. He should not be forcibly only working for Netflix. Like, that it just feels so illegal on so many levels, in my opinion. Like, straight up. Fuck you, Netflix. No wonder you're going under so quickly.
Shows and movies for Netflix. Regardless, this quote was from before the Book of Bill released and was a smashing success, and you best believe that there's some real interest from everyone involved now in making this happen. Just recently at New York Comic-Con, Alex said that Disney were the ones that reached out asking him for another Gravity Falls story.
Disney reached out and asked if I had another Gravity Falls book kicking around in my brain.
And now, everyone involved
Sweet.
realizes that there's a real hunger for more Gravity Falls content, all because of your excitement. You,
I want it
me,
badly.
we all made that happen. The only domino left to fall is getting Alex out of his Netflix deal, and I bet there are lawyers working their butts off to make that one happen. Maybe they need to get Bill's lawyers on this one. But hey,
Yeah, get
that's
Bill's
just
lawyers.
a theory. A film theory. And cut. Next.
Honestly, I really did love those theories. I cannot wait for more of it, and I can't wait for this puzzle to be solved. Like I said, I originally thought I was subscribed, but I guess I'm not or something. I don't know. For some reason, notifications never informed me that, hey, he made a new Book of Bill theory that I apparently missed, which we just reacted to. So that was fun for me. I watched videos out of order. Hooray! Still, I really like this book. I can't wait for more. I really hope Disney does something good and actually does do more Gravity Falls shit. And Netflix, if you're watching this, go fuck off with that stupid contract of yours. Like, straight up, that should 100% be illegal. They should not be forcing him to only work specifically for them when he has such a creative mind like that. And sure, I'm wording it poorly, but still, that's a stupid illegal move, and they can fuck off for that. But for now, thank you all for watching this, and I'll see you whatever I post next. Bye, guys.